Hello and welcome to Sage Thyme. Welcome, Leos. This is a Leo reading for the season of Gemini, May 21st through June 20th. And I have done your spread today with the Fairie oracles at the bottom of the deck. We've got the Singer of Initiation. Oh, that's awesome. Given your reading today is just, it's making me go, ooh. Ooh, I'm going to leave that out. What do we have on the split here? I can't read the name in the cursive, but I think it says Tahara of the Waters, and I know this card. So I'm going to leave those out and see if they want to speak to us a little bit more. So, using the Fairy Oracles by Brian Froud and the Heavenly Bodies Astrology deck. You've got Saturn here on the bottom. So before we get into your spread, let's pull from Spirit of the Animals Oracle cards and see which animal right away comes out. I have not ever seen this card before. And I've been using this deck for a while. There's a little fruity fly. I always think the fruit flies are little fairies. I love that about myself. And so it helps me not get so frustrated when they're all around. I haven't seen a fruit fly in this season, and now one shows up and we're working with the fairies. So there it is. Okay, your animal oracle card from Spirit of the Animals came out as personal choice. Look at that. Your reading today is just, Leo, what is going on with you? You're extraordinary. Okay. Let's see what this says. It says, close your eyes. What animal do you imagine? What strengths are they known for? What wisdom do they share? Embrace these qualities. So if you're doing that right now and you're bringing up an animal or one's come to mind, go ahead and pause this video for a moment and answer those questions for yourself. And then when you're ready, take the spirit of that animal into this reading as we now begin with your reading. So I forgot to have sips earlier. Cheers. The Heart of the Lion, Leo. All right. The first two cards that came out very clearly spoke to me as not exactly, they're not of the same, they're separate. They're together, I think. Okay, I'm not saying this right. They wanted to be spoken about separately. So here we have the Aries card and the Earth card. And the crossover here is interesting. You know, the Earth has all these beautiful, rich, deeply rich colors. And there's something in there for that one. And the Aries card is a bit more etheric. So maybe the nature of one is a spiritual nature of yourself. We could be talking about two different people, yourself and another. I'm hearing both. So I'm hearing to consider both, that the Aries nature, which talks about independence, bravery, and passion, specifically on the card, is kind of the holographic or the spiritual self aspect of you. And the Earth card is more with depth of feel and color and distinction. It talks about persistence, patience, and practicality. Is possibly, no, I'm still hearing it's two distinct people. I think that you and another have a very strong connection. And one of you, based on the cards, is really works in the spiritual realm. And your heart is, I'm going to say you're this card here. Your heart is the portal that connects you and the other into really incredible spiritual realm work. And I'm having a feeling that this other, the Earth card, in a way, you are both muses to the other. Perhaps the one that is represented by the Earth card is a bit of like a touchstone anchor so that you can travel even further into the fields of imagination and the explorations in the spirit world. And what you bring back, I'm feeling that this other person, which feels masculine to me, and the cards are all masculine that are surrounding it, this other one is able to create beautiful works from simply the energies that you bring back. So what an incredible symbiosis and connection. Let's look at you. And you can switch this around as it does apply, but the cards surrounding the Aries cards, I want you to see this, how it came out, because it doesn't do this very often. The singers in the Brian Froud Fairy deck are akin to me as angels. So this is how you got 3 singers. There's the Aries card. These 2 on either side, and then the one on the bottom. So you got 3 angelics. I'm hearing entourage. And I'm also hearing they're your entourage, but because they're your kin and you are them. How cool. Leo, you are angel. All right, so one of them is the guardian of the gate singer. The other, on the other side of it, is, yes, the singer of healing. And then the third that goes down below is the unity card. So you are learning and developing your skills, and you already are. You're incredibly powerful in this as an individual that is the guardian of gateways for people into their next level of healing. A bit like, no, I was going to say a Sherpa, but that's not correct. Simply a guardian, but the kind of guardian that's not an obstacle for people. It's the kind of guardian that stands at the gateway to another person's transcendence and healing. It's the kind of guardian that it's like that friend at the end of a maze or an obstacle course who's waving you on and waving a flashlight to show you, like, I'm over here. It's so you are that, and you are that because your greatest objective is to bring unity. And you know and recognize, look at that all the colors of the spectrum, the darks and the lights and the blendings of those in different quantities and qualities are what make what we call living worth it and interesting, and allow for a platform of discovery and becoming more of ourselves. And you, my Leo, are I'm definitely grabbing onto that word, independent and courageous. Of course, Leo, right? But that's something that can be found in all of us, and it has to be found and cultivated. So whether you're a Sun Leo or you're simply recognizing that within yourself or the lack of that, oh, little fairy. Courage is something that can be sought for and quested for. And one of my favorite things that Victoria at Veritas Tarot says, hi Victoria, much love to you. Quest is a question being posed, and the quest is the journey that we take to answer that question. I think she says it differently, but essentially that. So if at any point in your life you've asked yourself, or maybe now, where is my courage? That is the question that begins the quest. And wow, or how do I heal? That is the question that begins the quest of healing. And I think that that is a question, Leo, that a lot of people are in the midst of their quest for healing when they come across you. And you are that friend at the gate where the person is just kind of barely getting there and they're really maybe not going to make it to the gate. And you remind them by standing there with this brilliance that you have. I see and I'm feeling this just beam of love and joy coming from you. And you're encouraging the downtrodden and the exhausted, and there's just no more left to go to get to this threshold and pass into a greater healing and a greater sense of inner unity. And you call them forward, you encourage them, you let them know there's only so many steps left. I'm right here, the threshold's right behind me. Take my hand. Let me help you move into this new threshold, which is their greater independence. It is that Aries energy. There is nothing that can give a person greater sense of confidence and conviction and bravery than going through the impossible, feeling certain at many points they're never going to make it through, and then they do. They make it through, they get to the end of the trial, and they pass over the threshold. And boy, that's when the Aries I am motto comes in. And I am, after rigorous trials and journeys like that, I am brings in, I am courageous. It brings in that Leo energy, right? I am brave. I am independent. I don't need another. It doesn't mean that I won't allow it and invite it, but I won't need to be attached to what another gives me, even if I think that they're the only source of that. And that recognition that even if somebody has, or something, or an institution, in the scientific field, or the medical field, or the government, or a job, gives you what you need to get to the next thing, and that's a storyline. And when we go without it, and it gets taken away from us, and we make it through that journey to the other side, that independence of I am everything I need becomes real in a bigger, grander way than what seemed possible. What seemed more like fairy tales actually becomes real. And having gone through those trials gives us a sense of that unity, that angelic representation, the design and the essence of union between two contrasting thoughts, ideas, opinions, belief systems. And when those come together, they unify and they reconcile. And when that occurs, when two opposing understandings come together and say, you're right, and you're right, when before they were like, one can't exist with the other one present. And when they both say, oh, I exist because you're present, then that convergence occurs, and the transcendence is the new paradigm. So that's what I'm seeing on the aspect of you. Now here on the other aspect, the earth aspect here, we've got surrounding the earth card, all this beautiful. And this may be you and your higher aspect, because this is all gorgeous masculine energy. Look at that. Okay, let's look at the cards more in depth. So, We'll start with the himself. This is my him card. It is simultaneously the divine masculine that exists within me and the presentation of that showing up in another person. So if you have met your person, your him, he is, I feel like he's an artist. He is, we've got Town the poet here, who picks up on this guy. You can see he sits here and he's in this state of listening, contemplation a little bit, but really it's a state of listening, and I believe it's almost like a conjuring and creation realm within himself. He's creating poetry with everything he perceives around him. Sound, sensation, thought, feeling, movements in the world around him. And he is creating poetry within him. He is creating art within him. He is creating music within him. And he brings that out into the world in a way that is uniquely and distinctly his. It's not what is expected of a creator in his realm, whether he's a musician or he's an illustrator or a cook or all the, I mean, there's so many. Everything can be creative as long as we make it creative. He is most definitely, you know, he could be a CEO and still be a creative, expressive being in a big way. But for him to be in alignment with the messages and the energies that are coming through here, he'd be the kind of CEO where you're like, your mind blows because his creative ability and talents comes through in his executive operator role in a way that's so different that the entire infrastructure of the corporation he runs is run in I'm seeing like gears and belts and different things, and there's changing shape so that instead of standard gears and belts, they're just becoming all kinds of different, you know, designs according to what he wants, words and colors and shapes, and they work because he is an incredible creator. He is that young creative expression, the divine masculine, or you are. And then here below of the three masculine cards surrounding is the Sage card, and this is also him. He's got the one eye that's blind and the one that is just penetrating, and you can see and recognize that that blind eye is, it's matching that and these white lines throughout. That's what takes him into the other realms, working multidimensionally and being able to, when you come back from your heavenly interactions with the angels, because you are an angel, my goddess, when you come back there, he can see you and he hears you, he knows you. I want to be a witness to this, and I'm feeling into it. I'm in it. It's wonderful. It's a true partnership, and it's happening because of your independence, both of you. It's happening because you both know and recognize that you have everything you need emotionally, mentally, sexually, monetarily, in every way on your own accord. And so when you come together, you're both whole. You both have your whole hearts, and they've been wounded and you've repaired them in a way that's beautiful for you, in a way that doesn't have to look like what a heart looked like before, but it's still whole. And you know it because you created it, each one of you, your own hearts. So after those two very distinct surrounding energies came out from the fairy cards, I asked for a bridge card. 2 bridge cards actually, but one from each deck. And lo and behold, this is the one that came from the fairy deck. This is my beginner's mind, no thought card. And then from the astrology, the moon card. So what is connecting you to is the no thought. You guys are not letting the thinking mind, the conditioned mind, the program mind interfere or be a part of your guys' connection, the two of you. You were letting that go and being in that state of beginner's mind, the wonderment state. And when that happens, your consciousness dwells in the heart space. And when your consciousness dwells in the heart space, the portal is open to all the realms of connectivity and imagination, exploration, healing. I feel this incredible wholeness of both of you, so distinctly different from the other, and yet coming together, bridged by the relinquishing of the thoughts, of the shoulds, of the how it is to be, of the what do we do to take care of that. It's simply like a water washing through. And the moon card speaks to me often originally as like the collective influence. I think that there's something more to it than that for you too. It says here, satisfy emotional needs, nurture self and others. Yeah, that's not it. I'm hearing that you both are very well attuned into recognizing the collective influence and how it ebbs and flows, its different phases and stages. And because you've both independently tuned into that, when collective waves come in, you're able to see it. So if a volatile collective wave or a challenger collective wave, and it comes in, you both recognize it independently, and because of that awareness, you're able to keep it in check. You don't suppress it and ignore it, but you recognize that if maybe Mars is aspecting Uranus or something, or Saturn in a difficult way in the astrology, and you feel it affecting you both know to take time separate and to take care of yourself and to work that process, because it's something that the universe is gifting you. It's gifting you a bag full of thumbtacks, or a bag full of charcoal, or a bag full of flowers and sparkly beads. Whatever the universe is presenting to you at the time, hot coals dump at your feet and you're like, oh, I felt that singe. I'm not going to step on it, and I'm certainly not going to bring my partner into it. I'm going to take what's being presented to me now, and I am going to let it be a tool rather than a weapon. Let it be a creative medium rather than a destructive force or a poison. And I'm neither going to harm myself or anyone else with that. Rather, I'm going to go over here, work with it to the point where I can work with it without harming myself or others, and then I'm going to create something spectacular and beautiful. And that is something that you both do independently. And then when you come back, you bring that new cultivating and what's the word? I'm thinking manipulating, because it is like how a potter will work with clay at a wheel, or an illustrator will work with charcoal to create incredible images of depth. Yeah, cultivating, manipulating. There's another word that's trying to come through. You know what word it is. I think it's just coming up in your mind because you know it. All right, that is today's reading for Leo for the season of Gemini. I would love to hear how this might be transpiring or already has been transpiring, or if this is something that you've been feeling yourself is coming into play and you're seeing the pieces start to surface in the world around you. And you're like, oh, this is a confirmation. I'd love to hear how that is playing out. And anything else you'd like to share around that, what you're working through to still bring this into fruition, or the incredible developments that are already in play. As always, thank you for the likes and subscribe and your comments of loving presence, generosity, inquiry, questing, questions, and so forth. I am here and I am grateful that you are as well. Have a blessed Gemini season, my Leo friends. Blessed be.